Prototype 1 and 2 on Steam Deck. So why am I testing these old games? Well, the games got updated. The first one is from 2009 and the second one is from 2012. We didn't get a sequel to any of them, but this update actually didn't add anything at all. You go to the credits and now you have Iron Galaxy and Ubisoft Connect there, so they're hinting at a remaster or remake. The bad thing about this is that it destroyed all the mods, so somebody probably will have to update those. But since these two games are very beloved, I wanted to see how they run on Steam Deck, because usually old games don't work great when they're DX9. We're going to check out battery life and also what settings we need to use. And I want to thank Instant Gaming for sponsoring this video. Instant Gaming is a website where you can find cheaper games for PC, PlayStation, Xbox and Nintendo Switch with 24/7 support. You can find old and new games such as Chronos New Dawn, Days Gone, Dead Island 2, Stellar Blade for cheaper prices. Some other highlights would be Shadow of Mordor for $1.62 US, Max Payne for $1.26, and Sunset Overdrive for $2.74. I highly recommend you check those out. And each month we're giving away one free game to one of you guys of your choice on Instant Gaming. Make sure to hit participate, follow myself and Instant Gaming in social media, and thanks again to Instant Gaming for sponsoring this video. Let's continue. So when it comes to settings, 800p, 2x MSAA because that's the highest it goes, and everything on high. And what does this mean? Well, you get 90 FPS easy. If you unlock the frame rate, it will be way over 100, at least when nothing is happening, like you're seeing right now. But overall, it's been completely fine with 90 FPS. The thing is battery life, you get like 2.5 to 3 hours. Not sure why the battery life is so short, since the game is very old at this point. It's like, yeah, 16 years old. So I think it should run with more battery. But the best way to get more battery life out of it would be to lock it to 60 frames per second. So yeah, I mean, it works. But right now nothing is happening, so let's get into the action. And as you can probably notice also, this game is 100% 16:10, so you use the entire screen, thank God. Even many new games nowadays do not have that feature. So it uses the entire screen, that's perfect. And as you can see now, the GPU usage is much higher than when I was just running around. Because of course there's more effects on screen and all that. 90s. Basically 90% of the time. There are some small spikes in the frame time. No big deal. I don't know if the game has issues with high frame rates. But so far I've been playing it for like 3-4 hours the other day. I wanted to play it and I was like, man, I need to get over it. And this is basically a 360 PS3 era game that also came out on PC. And it ran fine, but again, it's a game from 16 years ago. Maybe if it goes above 60, some stuff breaks. I have no idea really on how it is in that front. But as you can see, as soon as action picks up, we have 2.5 hours of battery on the OLED Steam Deck. Seems to be using quite a bit of CPU though. That surprised me. I was expecting it to use very little, but here we are. So if you want more battery life, my advice is to actually put it at 60 frames. So go to this menu, unlock it to 60, but at 90 FPS on the OLED, you can get 2.5 hours of battery in the bad parts. So probably closer to 3 in most of the gameplay time. This game is all about action, but there are moments when you're not having explosions all over the screen. But logging into 60 really does help. On the LCD Steam Deck though, I would expect more like 2 hours, maybe 2.5 at 60 frames instead. But closer to 2 hours would be more realistic. But this game is still a lot of fun. I think the gameplay still holds up to this day. Obviously visuals are dated, but I think the art style really does all the heavy lifting over here. And here we go, another ability. I'm doing this on purpose, this part, because they show off basically everything. But I love doing all the tricks that the game has. Get it down! Yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. Yeah, it's like WWE, but as a monster. Everything destroyed. So as you can see, Prototype 1, I would say it's a solid game for Steam Deck. Decent battery life, completely fine performance, and visually it's super sharp. This was before the era of TAA, so you have 2 times MSAA. You can also disable MSAA if you want a bit more battery life, but overall, it's completely fine. Despite being a 16-year-old PC port, they did a good job with this. Just, again, I'm not sure if going above 60 breaks anything in the game, because the mods right now, due to this new patch that added stuff to the credits, broke every mod. So in that way we're screwed. So yeah, anyway, lock it to 60, have good battery life, and enjoy your time playing the game. On Prototype 2, I'm doing something a little bit different, so 800p as well. Anti-aliasing low or high, both look fine. I'll put it on low just for a tiny bit more performance. Shadow detail on high, ambient occlusion on, motion blur off, personal preference, effects quality on high, prop draw distance. I recommend lowering this to medium, because I played this game when it came out, and I remember it not running properly. So that's my advice for this one at least. And here's the game. As you can see, it's into the 70 to 80 FPS range when looking into the distance, but it doesn't run particularly great. We seem to be CPU limited, or maybe something regarding the old PC port, but I remember performance being pretty poor. But one thing that I'm noticing is that the frame rate doesn't feel like it's above 60. When I'm here. Not sure if that's an issue with the port itself or whatever, but it doesn't feel smooth when it's above 60. Maybe something wrong with the refresh rate, how the game reads refresh rate. I have no idea. So my advice for this one is to lock it to 60 first of all, but with unlocked frame rates you get something like 2 hours of battery. So battery life on this one I'd say is pretty poor considering the age of the game. Let's lock it to 60, make it easier for ourselves. Okay, there we go. We're at 60 now, and honestly, it feels smoother. I'm not sure again if the refresh rate reading is incorrect for this game, but you got basically more of the same in comparison to the original. You can convert into people, you have heavy action, you can destroy everything, you have an open world, helicopters chasing you. It feels like a faster game overall, but obviously it came out like 3-4 years after the first one, so technology is more advanced. You can notice it by playing the game. I think visually it's pretty superior, especially when it comes to models, shadows, draw distance. But people hated it, I think, if I remember correctly. Oops, I'm going to die. I need something else. That worked. Also, fun fact, the Spider-Man 4 game, when Spider-Man 4 was a movie that was going to come out, they were making a game using this same engine. You can find on YouTube pre-production footage of Spider-Man using this technology. And it's basically Prototype with a Spider-Man skin, which was pretty interesting, at least in my opinion. Now the company that made this game, I think, is completely closed, doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately. But they made pretty fun games. Radical Entertainment. If they're still alive, please let me know in the comments. At the top of my mind, I don't really remember. But it sounds like they're not active anymore. So yeah, I think considering it's a game from 2012, it still looks pretty damn good. It just disappoints me what performance we're getting, and the fact that the game doesn't look smooth when going above 60. But other than that, you get like 3 hours of battery on the OLED. On the LCD, probably closer to 1.5 to 2 hours. But it's still very gory. You have all that thing of changing into the person that you consumed, which can help in certain missions. And you get that open world that you can do basically whatever you want. You can grab a car and start running up a building dressed as a pedestrian if you want to. It's pretty funny. It's a lot of fun. I think it's a game where I would say dumb fun is the name of the game. And the combat I think is pretty solid. I really enjoy the gore on this one. I think it's pretty well made. But obviously the gameplay will feel old because the game is old. It's from 2012, back from when Left 4 Dead 2 was a new game. But when it comes to the Steam Deck, despite this game being old, it runs pretty well. I didn't have to do any tweaks, it recognized my controller right away, I didn't have to do anything special. So yeah, I'll highly recommend the first and the second game in the franchise. You don't need a remake to enjoy those games on Steam Deck or any mods. They work right out of the box. Again, it recognized my controller as an Xbox 360 controller, and I could control the UI without doing anything special. I just launched the game, chose my settings. You might need to change the resolution, might be stuck at 720p, but other than that, you should be good. You can fly around and all that. But let me know if you guys ever played Prototype, the first or the second one. It was back on the PS3 era, but this game still looked pretty damn good considering its age. Especially when it comes to lighting and art style. I think they nailed it. Somehow this game is still fun to play nowadays. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I did revisiting Prototype. I completely forgot that this existed thanks to the unannounced patches to add stuff to the credits and break mods. I remembered that it was a thing. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see ya next time. Bye guys, have a good one.